All right, so again, my name is Sean, and tonight we're just going to be using CorelDRAW and the Design Wizard to create different types of designs. Hey Claire, welcome. All right, so we have a couple examples that we're going to make right here. So I made a few of them earlier just so they'd be ready to go. So we're going to break down how to make all the different designs you see right here. Hey Pillar, welcome. All right, so we'll start with one of the easier ones. So this one's going to be the practice or act like a champion, whatever we want to call this, the end product. So all we're going to do is write out practice like a champion. And then I'm going to come up top here and I'm just going to center my text. Now the next step is we're just going to figure out what font we want to use. So just because it's a sports design, usually I try to pick some type of like athletic designs. Hey Tasha, welcome. So let's see what we have. TOW athletic. We have a few different ones we can pick from here. I think this is the one I used in the example. So the next step, once we have our font, we're just going to resize this. So now our design's around, probably make it closer about 7.5, just because we're going to actually have our baseball swoosh kind of coming around too. So we're going to make it just a little bit, if we want it to be about 9 inches when we're done, we're going to bring it in actually closer to like 7.5, 8. Now once we have that typed out, up top here, we want to go ahead and open up our font window. So you'll see the tools up top here. And we're going to click the B. That's going to break apart all of our text. So right now it's centered, but I can't move just the one row. So once I hit the B, this will break up each text field for me by the row that it's on. So we'll go ahead and move that up a bit. This one here. Now, once I click that, now practice is just the one word. So when I click that now, click the B again, it's going to break apart each letter for me. So we're going to just select act. And we'll go ahead and make it a separate color right now. And actually, let's go ahead. We'll make this our gray. And then we can make those our blue. Hey Toy, welcome. So this is pretty much the setup of our design right now. So what we can do, if the A is kind of too spread out here, I can go to my text tool. Actually, instead of using the text tool, we'll go ahead and just hit the B again to break it apart and just move that A in just a bit. If I want to make sure it's centered, I can group it and hit P as in Paul. That's going to center my design. And then I can move it back up. Move that one just a little bit. All right, so again, nothing too much to this design. Now once it's all done, I can definitely select all the same color. So I could select all the blue, weld that, select all the gray, weld that. So now it's just all one piece for the blue and all one piece for the gray. Now on the example, you'll see that we have this swish right here, kind of this ball coming around just like this. So to make that, we're going to grab our B-spline tool. So that's going to be under the freehand. And we're just going to kind of make a shape just like that. And we can edit it maybe just a little less this way. Now once I make this first one, I'm going to move it over just a little bit and make it a little bit bigger. And then I'm going to make a copy of the second one, do the same thing, and make that a little bit bigger too. So now if I want to edit the lines at all a little bit, I can maybe move that in. I'm going to make all the bottoms come in a little bit more. So they're all kind of coming from that same area. And then next, I'm just going to select the B-spline again, and I'm just going to make kind of a smaller line just going in between each middle part here. So just like that. All right, so now we're going to select our 3 kind of larger swooshes. So I have these 3 selected. We're going to come up here to our line thickness. 20. Start kind of what, whatever option it gives us at the bottom. Go ahead and do that. We want them a little bit thicker, so let's go ahead and double it. So about 50 is good for our design right here. Now I don't need these ones here as thick, so I'm going to select these 2 middle ones, and we'll make these about 35. Now when I make this thickness of the lines, when I make these wider, even though I just did that, if I go to my wireframe, you notice how it looks the same? So right now, these are still just lines. So even though I change the thickness up here, when I go to my enhanced view, you see the actual thickness. But again, the wireframe, you're not seeing that here. So if I sent this to my cutter right now, this is all it's going to see. It's not going to cut these thick lines that I have. So before we move on, we want to highlight our lines. And up top here, we're going to convert outline to object. So once I do that, now if I go to my wireframe, you'll notice how they're the same thickness in each view. So once we do that, we're just going to select our middle pieces. I'm just going to double click so it leaves a node. Pull that out a little bit. And then I'm going to delete these 2 here and kind of give it this more of just a pointed edge right here. So same thing, just click on it, double click to add a node, just pull it out a little bit, delete the last 2 nodes, and then I can shape, if I click on the node at the end, I can kind of shape my tail a little bit more. So now we're going to weld all these together. And then I'm going to come down here at the bottom. And just make that kind of one point like that. So to do that again, yep, I can show that again. So right now when I welded it, we have these kind of rough edges. So we double click and that's going to show us the nodes. So I'm just kind of highlighting the edges here, hitting delete, and then clicking on this node at the end, and then this, you're going to see this arrow kind of coming off. If I select that arrow at the top, I can change the shape of that line. Right, so last, we're just going to add our artwork. And at this point, really any clip art, we'll stick with the baseball, but any clip art can go in here. So I just added a little bit of a boundary just so we can see what it's going to look like. I'm going to group those together. Add that to the tail. And we can add a little bit of color too to our design. So now pretty much the only thing we probably really change in this design to make it like a live template would be the baseball. So now we could change that to a soccer ball, football, basketball, and then everything else could remain the same. And if I wanted to customize it a little bit more, I could definitely add like a box down here too. And type SEHS Athletics. Use our text spacing. Go ahead and just space that apart. Now I could go all the way, or I could leave it out depending on how we want our design to look. So we could have it set up like that, or actually making it look like it's going all the way across our design. So I kind of like the first way better. That way we can see it a little bit more. So now once that's set up like that, I could just come to my text effects, just hit apply. Oh, don't need it to be a 3 color, just 1 color, apply. I clicked the wrong one. Might have to restart this real quick. Sorry, guys. But once we add the text effect, now that becomes a live template at the bottom of our design too. I'm not sure what I clicked. I think I selected, it said dome. The last thing I saw down here was it said text effect dome. I don't know if I accidentally clicked something else to make it do that. I'm not sure what I thought. I just hit apply, but I'm not exactly sure. All right, but was there any other questions on the first design that we had set up? Yeah, yep, exactly. When I look at the video, I'll see if I clicked anything else, but it might have just been a weird thing with Corel. Now, what we could do with that shirt too is on the front of it, the act like a champion could have been the back. And then the front, we could have easily just selected, so our live templates 2, simple baseball bat like this. Rotate that. Just do a copy in a mirror. Put a circle around that, and then I'll go ahead and center all of this. Let's make our bats a little more and center those. Have my circle here. And then we can just have our Mustangs baseball. Fit text to path. And then just that can go right around our design just like that. And on the bottom, we could just write out varsity. So that text, to get rid of that circle line, all I did was right-clicked this X. Now it's still there. If I go to my wireframe, you'll still see it. So what we're using that for is a line for our text to go around. So that's the text to path tool. So up top here, I just selected text, this A on the diagonal line, come down here. That red line lets us know it's in the middle. So I click that. Now since this is upside down, if I want it the other way, I just flip it or mirror it both directions. I can pull that back down, and then if needed, I can space it out using my text spacing tool. And we can lower the height to make it look a little bit more even, like up top. So that could almost be the pocket of the front of the t-shirt, and then the act like a champion would be the other side. So any questions on our first design? Alrighty. So our next one, we're going to just use some basic shapes of Corel. So what we're going to do is use our polygon tool. Now when I hold control, so real quick, we had a question with this Mustang baseball design. To get this cut ready, because your cutter's going to read that cut. If I sent this right now, it would see the circle as one of the objects to cut. So on our live template editor, once I hit find text, I can change any of the text I want. Once I'm done doing that, I just highlight my design, hit break apart effects, and that's going to delete our circle right out. So now I could just weld my baseballs or my bats and then the text if I wanted. So if I wanted a one color design, I could just weld everything at this point. But to get rid of the circle, you just highlight, break apart effects, and it's going to delete the circle for you. Now once you delete the circle, we can't edit the text anymore. So we always want to edit the text first and then break apart effects. Alright, so with our polygon tool, we're just going to go ahead and select that. I'm going to hold control, and it's going to make it a perfect shape for me just like that. So if you don't hold control, you can kind of set this up however you want. If you want it to be a perfect shape, you just hold control, and then we can make it a little bit bigger. So next I'm going to just grab my rectangle tool. I'm just going to draw a rectangle across my design. I'm going to click it one extra time, and you'll see the arrows around my rectangle. So I'm just going to pull this side down. Let's go ahead and make this a little thicker. So I select it, click it again, and I'm just going to see those arrows, and I'm just going to pull this left side down. So I'm going to go ahead and make a copy and mirror that. And then I'm just going to center my two X's and my polygon shape. So I'm just going to make that just a little bit bigger. I can add a little color to it as well. So with my shapes here, I'm going to select, doesn't matter which one we select first, but we're going to do it intersect. So I'm going to select one piece, hold shift, select the back piece, and up top here we're just going to select the intersect. How do you only pull down one side? So with the rectangle, when you have it selected, if you click it again, these arrows will pop up. So if you pull down, whatever side you pull down, it's only going to maneuver that side. So those little arrows, so if you'll have the ones up top and bottom too, so that will kind of give it the slants in those directions. And the side ones will pull it down either up or down. No problem. So this part here, let me just make sure I didn't select it or intersect it yet. So we're going to select our first piece, hold shift, select our back piece. So now I just have these two pieces selected. And I'm going to do it intersect. So what that does is wherever this line or rectangle shape was over my polygon, it will just leave that mark just across it. So instead of going outside of it, it's just going to be perfectly fit right there. So we're going to do the same on this side. Intersect. Yeah, go ahead and make that a gray. All right. So actually we'll have this side up top. All right, so now we're going to use our magic boundary tool. So I'm going to select my blue piece here. Go ahead and remove shapes behind, and we're going to set this to about 0.0. Let's do 0.04. So you'll see that cropped out there. We can actually go a little bit more than that. Let's do 0.07. Now we have this piece here. We're going to do the same thing. So now I have my two pieces just like that. All right, so the next one, we're just going to go to our text effects. I'm going to hit apply, and it's going to set my text up just like that. So this is all, once I select the one color, I didn't add a shape to it. So I'm just going to size this. And then I'm just going to pull this side straight up, pretty much just to match what we did a second ago. So that fits nice just like that. I can hit the P to center it. I'll raise it just a little bit more. You'll see the text here now. And now I can change this. We'll do Bulldogs. So we have that set up just like that. Now I'm going to select my rectangle tool again. And I'm just going to draw just a thin rectangle across my design, or just in an open area. I'm going to go to my Edit tab. I'm going to go to Copy Selected, and I'm going to make this about 0.12. And I'm just going to hit down. Actually, a little bit more. We'll do 0.15. And just a little bit more, 0.2. There we go. So we're just going to make a few copies. something just like that. We'll go ahead and give it just a second color so we can see it a little bit more. And I'm going to weld these together. And then we're doing the same thing. I have it selected. We're going to click it again, and I'm just going to pull up on one of the sides just like that. Now I'm going to hover this over my shape here. I'm going to zoom in, hold shift, and select the blue. So now those are the two pieces I have selected, the green and then the blue that's behind it. And we're going to do that intersect tool again. So now this is just going to copy over our section right there. So if I want the two color look, I can leave it like that. Or now I can delete that blue piece out. And now I have that nice stripe look just like that. So we're going to go back to our shapes, and I'm going to select the star now. So again, we're just going to use some basic Corel. We can get rid of all this extra if needed. I'm going to go ahead and draw a perfect star. This time I'm going to make the points to around 15 to 20. And then we're going to make our sharpness around 80. So I'm going to go ahead and center that star. Bring it right up top. And I want to spread it out so the points go all the way past my design here. Now if I want this circle smaller, I can make this, the point or the sharpness, a higher number. So depending on, kind of the look we want. Now once that's set up, I just select my design, hold shift, select the gold piece behind, and I'm going to do my intersect again. And now that's just going to leave me my piece just like that. So now we're going to add our artwork. So I'm going to go to Bulldogs. Select my Bulldog. Oops. Don't want to remove shapes. Just going to give it a boundary around it. And then we'll go ahead and make that blue as well. And that's going to cover up our piece in the middle there. That's going to cover it up just like that. All right, so now we're just going to add our last text. So we're going to go to our text effect, apply. Again, we're going to shape this to fit down here. So I'm going to click in the middle, double click in the middle here. That's going to add a point. I'm just going to bring that pretty much straight up. And then these points down here, I'm going to drag down just so they're underneath my line here. So then I'm going to draw another one, pretty much do the same thing. So I'm going to double click and then select a point here in the middle, double click, and then pull that just straight down here. And then just go ahead and adjust my sides. Just like that. All right. So now I can select my text tool, click in here, and I can just write, let's do East Manatee. And then we'll write high school at the bottom here. So we can make this a 2 or a 1 color look. And then the last, we're going to do text. I'm going to change this to a 20. Make a copy, bring it over, change this one to 19. And then I have my finished design. So, I mean, essentially, except for, you know, the text effects in our clip art, this entire design is just built off basic Corel shapes and features of Corel, like the intersect tool, and the star shape, rectangle shapes, the polygon shape. So I know a lot of, you know, if you look at a lot of those designs on like Google, if you search like a, you know, a high school design like this, a lot of them, you know, if you start looking at them, are going to have, you know, basic shapes like this as their main pieces. So, you know, instead of maybe using the tracing features to try to like copy them yourself, just use the tools in Corel. And, you know, we can create a lot of these different looking designs just like that. All right, so any questions? On our second design? Yeah, you're going to get all these designs too. Definitely. All right. If you guys have any questions or need to see anything again, just let me know. All right, so we'll move on to our third design. We'll go ahead and move this one over. All right, so this is one, graduation every year is always a big seller. They always have, you know, each year will have some new saying. Looks like this one is like go big for B in 19, or we're kind of a big deal. So we're going to create just a, you know, graduation shirt. So with this one, we can set it up as a live, yeah, might as well just set it up as a live text just in case we want to change the saying. So we'll start by just clicking our apply for our text. And on this one, we're just going to write, we're kind of. Make that a little bit smaller. Now, the next part we won't work as well because we're going to break it apart kind of like we did the last one. So let's pick a different font too. We don't need the apostrophe yet, but we will use it. We will use it in the design. So there's a font that looks kind of good with this design. We'll use this one here. So we're going to set it up just like this. So this line won't really be, we might not really care to set this one up as a live template just because it might not change that much, except the part we will make a live template is the school name. So you don't necessarily have to use this part as a live text if you don't want. So we're going to hit the B up here again. That's going to break this apart into 2 words. Yes, there definitely should be an A. Thank you. We're the smartest around here, so. Alright, so once we hit the B, we're going to hit it again, and that's going to break up each letter individually. Yeah, smarter. Alright, so now I'm going to select that one, just turn that to a 1. Select the G, and we're going to turn that to a 9. So let's go ahead, and here we're going to just weld this together because, again, we don't really need it as a live template. And we'll go ahead and just add our second color, or just a boundary to the outside. And then we're going to do the reverse on this part here. So we'll make all that red. And weld this first. Then we can add a contour and make that. Actually, let's go ahead. It was. We'll go black. And then black here too. Yeah, yep. So we had a question if we can show how to set up the second design as a cut file. So at the end of this one, we'll set both of these up as cut files, or I'll show you how to. So just like that. And then we're gonna again go to our shapes, down to our banner. So I never, the banners are nice. I always just use the preset banners they have. And one thing we can do too is these banners, once we set it up, in our envelopes, we have a preset that has a banner shape. So I can hit apply, and it kind of gives it more of a wave in my banner. Just just something that's a little bit different. So now I'm going to use my Smart Fill. Just come in and Smart Fill those 3 pieces and just pull them apart just a little bit. And delete my original. Go ahead and weld those back together. And then we can go ahead and add a boundary to the outside of that. Or a contour, which we can then break apart too. So either way. So we're just going to set that right there. And now we can do seniors 19. Put that right across here. And we can actually go to our envelope, hit preset, and let me go where it's actually straight again like this. Preset, add preset, apply. And now that will hold the shape of that a little bit nicer. bring this side down just a bit and raise these just a little bit higher. So just like that, and then if we really want to customize it at the end, let's go ahead and shape it, apply. So it did it again. It's weird, because I didn't do anything that strange. I just selected a different shape. I might just have to run a repair on my Corel. So let me close it down again. All right, so let me type that out again real quick. All right, we use one of the fonts down here. It's this one here, yeah. Again, we're just going to set that up, break these apart, change that to the 1. Nine. And go ahead and weld that. Weld our top. Add a nice contour to the outside. Make the inside white. And on this one, make that red on the inside with the same color contour on the out. Now again, to make the banner, we just have our shapes up here. Go ahead and select the one you like. And go to our envelope tool, add preset, give it kind of the wave look, hit apply. Then we take our smart fill and just fill those areas. I kind of just move them off a little bit. Delete our original. Weld each one of those together. Add the same contour. That right on top. I'll just set it up like this for now. And you can make that either red or let's make that red. Just like that. Now the last part, we'll go ahead and text effect, apply. Make that a little bit smaller. Top here, we could have our school name. just a bit of a script. Bring it on top. And then if needed, I can add a small contour around the outside. So that would be our finished design. So the we're kind of a big deal. That wouldn't change. The seniors 19 we could make so you could change it. But then the main part that we would change is just the high school name at the top. All right, so someone asked if, yeah, the L in the Lakewood, it's just the way this font's set up. It's actually, that is the uppercase, that's the lowercase. It does look a little weird though. The old version of this font, the L's different. I did not know that. I didn't even know there was a second version. All right, so oh shoot. So the second design, I can make a, what I'll do is when I edit this video, I'll bring that design back. I'll create that design again, and I'll just show you how to edit it at the end of that one too. So this one here, how we would get this cut ready, depending on how many colors you wanted. If you wanted it, the 3 colors or 2 colors. If we're going to set it up as a 3-color design, what we would do first is just highlight the entire design. Go to our live template editor, and I would just hit break apart effects. So that's going to separate all the contours for us. So what I would do next, and I guess it's really going to depend on too what type of vinyl we're going to lay down. So the black is going to be kind of our back piece. So up here you can see how it's on top of some of the pieces here. So if I wanted it to kind of show around or have a little area between this, I can just select my black piece here, go to my magic boundary, hit remove shapes behind, maybe set that to 0.04, and that's just going to cut that for me just like that. Now I could weld all my black pieces now. So that's all one piece. Same with my white. And then this piece here, if I wanted it taken out, I would just group my black and my white together. Select my white here, hold shift, select the group of the white and black, and then just hit back minus front. And then I could just weld all my red. So if I didn't have to worry about any layering issues, I could pretty much set it up just like that. My whites, one piece, my reds one piece, and then my black would be one piece. Now if I couldn't have any type of layering, then I could select my white, do a boundary about a 0.02. Oh, and let's add a contour as well. And then same with my red. And that will give me that punched out look. So you can see how nothing's overlapping now. So either way, we would use the magic boundary pretty much, around everything. If we wanted to maybe use this for a glitter, if we're using Easy Weed or anything like that, you don't necessarily have to add that last part of it, or the last magic boundary. All right, so our final design. Move this one over. So our final design, again, we're going to kind of create a baseball template. This one's going to be set up mostly just for baseball or softball. But we're still going to make it a live template, so you can always switch around the team. But it's not going to be necessarily a template that could be any sport. This one's going to be kind of set up just for baseball. So what we're going to do is select our rectangle tool. And I'm just going to draw pretty much just a rectangle just like that. Go back to our shapes, our basic shapes. Draw my triangle. I'm holding control so it stays perfect. And I'm going to rotate it 45 degrees. So right up top here you'll see this circle with the arrow. That's the angle of rotation. And we're going to make that 45 degrees. That way our triangle sits just like this. And I'm going to bring in these sides so they match up as closely with the outside of this triangle, or the outside of this rectangle, as I can get. So something just like that, kind of what we're looking for. And I'm just going to weld. Now I might bring this rectangle in just a little bit. So what I'm looking for, my end result is like home plate. So that's kind of the shape. At the end, I just select both of those shapes and just hit weld. And then I have my home plate. I don't know if there's a home plate shape in Corel already. You might be able to use I'm not sure if they have one already. Yeah, you might have to. You'll probably have to edit, whatever. If you might be able to do it with the polygon, but you'll definitely have to edit it. All right. Let's go ahead and just add a boundary to this, just so it has a nice two-color look. Say about 0.1. Now the reason it gave me this look when I added the boundary of almost like an arrow shape now is I bet if I zoom in, yep, see how these edges go out a little bit? If I double click that, it's gonna just make those edges like they're supposed to be. That was just because my triangle was a little bit wider. So now when I add my polygon or my boundary, it's perfect. So if you get something weird like that, it's just probably because when we welded them together, one of the shapes was just a little bit wider than the other. Let's move this over just a little bit more. All right, so now let's go ahead and we'll write. What's a mascot you guys want to use? few coming in. All right, the first one I think that came in was the Falcons. So let's go ahead and stick with the Falcons. All right, so we'll make this a 3-color live text. And let's go ahead and do a nice athletic font again. And we're going to add the 3-color live text, hit apply. And actually, before we do that, let's go ahead and space out our text a little bit. So I just select the text spacing, click the TS, and then just pull these over to the right a little bit. So then we'll have that set up just like that. Hit apply. And now these look a little bit wide, so I'm just going to bring those in just a little bit. So when you select the actual contour, we can change the way this looks. Let's see if we can find just a little bit maybe of a thicker font. So I think I want to use this font. Let's go ahead and delete that. We're going to go back to our text spacing. Just go back a few. Because with that font, the text spacing is too much, so we might have to edit that a little bit. The only issue is when we do that, we will have to go back to that font. All right, so that's a little bit bolder. So we'll go back, apply, and I'll still edit these down just a little bit. All right. Now the next part, we're just going to draw a rectangle. Put it to the back. And what color were the Falcons? Down here, we're just going to write baseball. Maroon and white. All right, no problem. So we're going to write baseball. We're going to make this a little bit smaller. Same with our bar here. And we can actually make the text of our Falcons just a little bit taller. So our baseball, we're going to hit edit, text spacing. Just pull that right across. Go ahead and select our maroon and white. So our Falcons up here, we're just going to make that just like that. All right, so now let's go to add artwork. Let's see if we have any Falcons. Go ahead and select our head just like that. So what I'm going to do is just place this right over our white part. And I'm going to blow it up just a little bit, kind of so it A lot of it's going to be hanging over, but that's okay. We're just going to select the falcon, select the white shape behind, so just those two pieces, and again, just that intersect tool. So now the only part that's going to show up is that part of the falcon head that was over our design. All right, so the last piece, we're going to go to our arrow shapes. Up top here, you'll see this arrow shape over here on the right hand side. So when I draw this, you'll kind of notice it's a little bit thicker. I can select this little red piece at the top, and that's going to kind of change the angle of my arrow. So now we're just going to select that. Go to Edit, Copy. We're just going to hit Over until we're all the way across our design. And we'll go over this way, 1, 2. We're just going to go a little bit to the outside pretty much. So make that all maroon. And at the bottom, change size, but at the bottom here I can do the same thing, or I can have it going like the opposite direction, whatever I think looks better, and that kind of gives us our baseball laces look. So we can have it just on the top if you think it looks better that way. But that's just a nice little tool in here that we can use, just a basic shape that kind of, you know, resembles possibly the laces on a baseball. Whatever setup we think looks better. So any questions on our last design? Yeah, so the hawk right now is just laying on top. So if you wanted to change, like right now it's technically still a live template because I could go to change artwork. Someone mentioned the dolphins. Let's say we wanted to make this dolphins. Probably want more of our mascot looking dolphin. So then I would just kind of have to do the same process of finding a good area of the overlap where it gets a good look of the dolphin, selecting that white, intersect, make that maybe green now. Change that as well. So now I have my second design. Or, you know, that's how we're going to use it as a live template. So getting this one cut ready, It's not going to be too bad. With this part here, I could just weld it to the green. Bring that up top. Oh, never mind. That's one piece. So what we'd want to do first things first, let's go ahead, bring this to a new page just so I don't mess up. When we use the boundary tools, it will convert other text to like an object, so we can't edit it anymore. So like if I did it on this page, the Lakewood Ranch wouldn't be a text we can edit anymore. So that's why I'm moving it to a new page first. Then select our white and just make it black just so we can kind of see it a little bit easier. Our Dolphins text is a 3-color live text, so I just need to hit merge 3-color. Now that's ready to go. All the green I could just weld together. Or actually for this part here, we could just go remove shapes behind, contour 0.02. Same with this piece here. And then I would just weld all my green together at this point. Unless I wanted these different colors. Now I can weld all my green. It's more of a Dolphins color. Select all the black. Weld that. Then my white here, I would just select that, hold shift, back minus front, and now that's cut out just like that. So now once they're all welded, make that gray too. That would be all one piece, and then my green down here would be all one piece. Well, that pretty much wraps up tonight's webinar. Any other questions on any of the designs, any of the features, anything else I might have missed out on? All right, so Matt did say that he extended the TRW release code. So that code is still active tonight. That's TRW release 65. No dash, no spaces. So that will still be active for any of the mini packs and fonts, I believe. I know all the mini packs for sure, but I'm pretty sure that includes the fonts as well. So that's TRW release 65, and that's 65% off any of the mini packs. So I know he released a couple new ones last night. I think the blood one, oh, and the nurse one was a couple days ago, and then we released the new font as well. Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for coming. Again, my name is Sean. Any other questions, just give us a call at 941-755-1696 or shoot us an email at info@therhinestoneworld.com. Always remember to ask for Gage.